All right, all right. Ooh. Shay, can you bump me down with it? Good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning. Good looking room. Welcome, 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 welcome. Welcome to another exciting installment of what the streets have deemed Big Time Tuesday at the Belmont, live from the Harvey Gantt Design Regional. Belmont Regional Center here at 700 Parkwood Avenue. This is the Sarah Stevenson Tuesday Morning Forum, a source of information for the community for well over 50 years. My name is Winston Robinson. I am your facilitator today, along with co-facilitators, Ms. Laura McCletty, Carlinia Ivory, Jackie Edwards Walton, Nathalie McElrath, Mary Johnson, Shay Abdullah, Gary Young, Jasmine Wright, Sarita Sherrill, our website editor and archivist, Mr. Steve Johnston, and our one-man house band, Dr. Thomas. Come on now. A real professional. We had a TV show for years. Our forum runs from 8:30 to 10 a.m. in which we will pause for announcements from the audience. Announcements can also be sent to Steve at S. Johnson at TuesdayForumCharlotte.org. That's Johnston with a T. It is our tradition to open with a prayer. This morning we will ask Mr. Gerald Patton to lead us.
Good morning. Let us pray. Dear Heavenly Father, Lord, we just thank you once again for this opportunity to bring us together in this tabernacle, Lord, to commune with one another, Lord, to discuss the affairs of our community. Lord, we're going down this path being consistent with your word, where you said, forsaking not the assembling together one another, Lord, as we hear from the candidates that have offered themselves up for service for the next couple of years, Lord. Lord, we ask that you just bless this experience this morning, that will be something that will speak to our hearts and plant seeds of growth and to help better our community. Lord, we also thank the facilitators of this great forum, Lord, that give tirelessly of their time each and every week to bring productive and constructive programs to us to help us to grow as a community. These and other blessings we ask in your precious name. We pray. Amen.
Amen. Thank you so much, Mr. Patton. All right. Do we have anyone with us for the first time? Anyone with, hey, what's up? Who y'all come with? I'm just got Rita Robin shirts. So please, if you don't mind, give us your name and any associations or affiliations you'd like to acknowledge.
Okay. My name is Leslie Clay, and I'm the founder of a nonprofit organization, Hear My Cry. I'm here to be on the behalf of Ricky Robbins, Sergeant Ricky Robbins. Known him for many, many years. He's well trusted, well loved, and he's always had a dedicated heart.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Good to see you. So you take about 10 seconds to tell us who you are and any acknowledgments or affiliations.
Okay, I'm Denise Johnson, and I'm Ricky Robbins' oldest sister and one of his biggest supporters.
Oh, I appreciate it.
Deborah Adams, Ricky Robbins' baby sister, and one of his supporters.
All right. Anyone else? No, go ahead. Robin's going to come to you. Again, take about 10 seconds. Tell us who you are.
My name is Alicia Collins. I am wife of former Chief Deputy Rodney Collins. Thank you.
Look, ain't nobody had those hands up first. Well, look, I am with
Okay, well, good morning, everyone. I am, let's see, I'm gonna go by my professional name, Rhonda Collins Small. That's my professional name. Rodney and everybody else knows me as Michelle. I am Rodney's favorite baby sister, and that is my claim to fame. Thank you very much. I'm glad to be here.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Hi everybody, good morning. My name is Melanie Collins and I am also here to support Rodney Collins. I am a proud niece and thank you guys for being here today.
Thank you so much for joining us. Robert, we got two more. Another t-shirt just popped up out of nowhere.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Al Collins, and I am the dad of all of them. So.
Oh, wow.
Hope to see you all next Tuesday.
That's a better light than I've heard. named Al Collins.
Good morning. I'm sure there are a lot of my former students in here, all right? I'm Rodney Collins' mother. Thanks.
Oh, all right. But behind you, Miss Collins, Mrs. Collins.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Tyson Bates. I'm a recent graduate of Johnson C. Smith University. From JCSU. I'm currently serving as Assistant Campaign Manager for Sergeant Ricky Robbins.
I've known this young man for a long time. Just go ahead and put your email out there right quick. Robert, just let him. Because this young man is going to need opportunities. So go ahead, just tell him.
Absolutely. So I will tell a little bit about myself.
No, just your email. Very specific direction.
Yeah, I got you. tsnbates@gmail.com.
All right, we'll fill in the rest. When we get to yeah. Tyson is his name. Tyson Bates. Oh, I know. I know both his parents very well. He owes me an email too. Don't even worry about that. But so yes. Thank you. Any? We have two more. Robert. Oh my God. We gotta get.
I didn't want to interrupt. Hey, good morning, everybody. Adam Pasiak. I'm a candidate for County Commission, District 1.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. My name is Rebecca Cannon. I'm a local attorney, and I'm also running for District Court Judge, seat 18. I'm the only person challenging a District Court Judge. I'm here today because I care about our people that are in the jail, so I can't wait to hear the debate.
Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Paul Nelson. I'm the Regional Director for the African Think Tank, representing the African community. Understand what's going on. Thank you very much.
Thank you for joining us.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Nefertari Elbay. I am the Assistant Campaign Manager for Gary McFadden. Nice to see everyone.
Hello, everyone. My name is Kelly Watts. I'm also a part of Sheriff McFadden's team.
All right. Thank you so much for joining us. Please, we are here weekly, nearly about 40-something Tuesdays a year, with the exception of Election Day and holidays. So please join us. It's a space for great information that involves this community. If we have elected officials in the building, please stand so we can acknowledge you. Thank you so much for joining us. All right. Oh. All right. We're trying to get it back. All right. One more time. Robert, if you would take the mic and allow our elected officials to introduce themselves within about 10 seconds.
Good morning. That's Victoria Wallington. I have the pleasure of serving you on Charlotte City Council as a member at large. Happy Founders Day.
To whom? Wait a minute. Wait.
Understood, doesn't need to be explained.
Okay.
Happy Founders Day to the sorors of Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated.
All right. We're going to have a party hop through here.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Malcolm Graham. I have the honor of representing Charlotte City Council District 2.
Good morning, Warren. District Court Judge Keith Smith. I am honored and privileged to serve as one of your District Court judges. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Arthur Griffin. I have the pleasure of serving you as your County Commissioner at large. Thank you.
Good morning. I'm Representative Julia Greenfield, and I'm serving in my first term in the North Carolina State Legislature.
Good morning. I'm Representative Carolyn Logan. I'm going into my 5th term, North Carolina House of Representatives, District 101.
Good morning, everyone. I am Mary Belk, and I serve District 88 in the North Carolina General Assembly, and this is going to be my 6th term, hopefully.
Thank you so much for joining us. So now, folks, this is where we will have a moment for silence. That's where we take out our phones and we put them on silent. Also the content. So you don't want to know what kind of videos you're scrolling pop up on your algorithm during the middle of a speech, because it gets crazy on the timeline. So please, not just the ringer, but also the content. All right, following our presentation, we will take questions from the audience. Please raise your hand and we will add your name to a list of questions. We already got two. Get lower. My bad, I didn't think that happened either. We will add your name to a list. I will call on you in the order in which your name was added to said list. Questions should be from 30 seconds to a minute. Responses will be 2 minutes until the 9:30 mark, where questions will go down to 30 seconds. Responses will come down to 1 minute. Questions should be questions. The answer you receive is the answer you will have to accept. We do not go back and forth. We do not debate. We abide by the West Side Rules of Order, in which it is what it is. We have our timekeeper, Ms. Natalie McElrath. She will keep things orderly. She will keep things precise. She has a signal for 30 seconds and time. When you have 30 seconds, begin to finalize your thoughts and wrap it up. Don't play past the whistle.
Questions are 30 seconds.
Questions are 30 seconds. Questions are, yep. It's a different forum. All 30-second questions. No commentary. Questions should be questions. Our guests today are candidates and incumbent for Mecklenburg County Sheriff. They will have an introduction of about how long? 2 minutes. And then we will get into questions. Ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, the candidates for Mecklenburg County Sheriff. And we'll begin with...
And you can remain seated, it's okay.
Yes,
It's
you can.
better for the camera that you don't stand up.
But you will have to speak into the microphone. We do this for our streaming audience. So even though the room can hear you, we have an audience of millions that will see this and want to know what you said. So we just go from...
Yeah.
All right. You want to start off? Ms. Collins.
Good morning. Good morning. Thank you for having me. Thank you to the Tuesday Morning Forum for allowing me an opportunity to come and discuss my candidacy. Great. We're good? Just keep going. So thank you for the opportunity to come and discuss my candidacy. I'm Rodney Collins. I'm a retired Chief Deputy Sheriff of the Mecklenburg County Sheriff's Office, 30-year veteran of the department. I started my law enforcement career in the United States Air Force, and after transitioning there, I started at the Sheriff's Office. I've had an opportunity over the course of my career in the Sheriff's Office, starting as an entry-level deputy sheriff and working my way up to Chief Deputy, which is the second highest position in the office. I had an opportunity to work in every major division, have been a major contributor in that actual space, developing policies, procedures, guidelines that are still in use today. So when you talk about a candidacy and a candidate being prepared for this role, I spent the last 30 years being prepared for this role, walking and making significant contributions in the Mecklenburg County Sheriff's Office. So I'm excited about this opportunity to share my candidacy. I'm focused simply on 3 platform items, which is public safety, community collaboration, and equitable and transparent leadership. So as we get into this forum, I'd like to discuss more and more about those. So thank you so much for giving me this opportunity.
Good morning. Ricky Robbins, candidate for sheriff. Ones that don't know anything about me, I've been in law enforcement for over 35 years here in Charlotte-Mecklenburg County. Worked for the Charlotte-Mecklenburg Police Department, which is the largest department between DC and Atlanta. During my time and tenure for the last 15 years, I've been assigned directly to the Office of the Chief, an assistant and confidant for the Chief. Being in that role has entitled me and enabled me to be able to respond to and attend all forum meetings, everything that's happened in Charlotte and Mecklenburg County. Also, to be on the scene up front for everything that has happened in this county in the last 15 years. I work from the front. I don't Monday morning quarterback. I'm out there on Sunday night. Also, it's enabled me to be able to communicate with all state, local, and federal agencies, with the community. My time in the department, I've worked in every division in the department, patrol. I've worked in every investigative division, supervised or worked in it. And also means homicide, youth bureau, rape. Also 14 years on the SWAT tactical unit. Started the traffic division here in Charlotte-Mecklenburg. So I've been able to do what a lot of people hadn't done. Also, I'm probably the only candidate that has also worked in the entire Mecklenburg County, including the city limits of Charlotte, each town, all 6 towns, and the incorporated area. 3 things that I'm focusing on. 1 is safety and security of staff and the people under my care while they're there. 2, retention and recruitment. And 3rd, reopening the juvenile detention center. So I appreciate you being here this morning. Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Antoine Nance. Currently, I'm an elected union leader and born and raised in Charlotte, North Carolina. This campaign for me is about accountability and leadership. The main things I'm focusing on is bringing back accountability to the sheriff's office. I have experience as a detention officer. I went to the Sheriff's Training Academy, and I understand what it's like to not have leadership inside the county. And for me personally, this campaign is about being the candidate that's going to speak up whenever issues arise. Thank you.
Elections brings noise. Election brings promises. Elections brings drama. But the one I'm going to focus on is promises. In 2018, when you elected me as your sheriff, I made you certain promises. And I fulfilled every one of those promises in the first 45 days of my office. In 2022, again, when I seek the office of sheriff of the Mecklenburg County, I made you promises. Every single one of those promises were fulfilled. And you have to think about when they were fulfilled. In the middle of COVID, they were fulfilled. In the middle of civil unrest, they were fulfilled. They were fulfilled during injustice through our country. They were fulfilled. Under this administration, we have engaged with the community like you have never seen us before, and we will continue to engage with the community. We stand against injustice. We stand with those who march in the streets each and every day. My name is Gary McFadden. I'm the 45th Sheriff of Mecklenburg County and the first African-American Sheriff of Mecklenburg County. And I'm proud to serve you, and I will be prouder to continuously serve you. Thank you.
Thank you so much. We will go to audience questions. Tuesday morning forum tradition. The first question goes to Mr. Ken Koontz. Time around for the Ken Koontz. Always had a first question. Here's your microphone. Can we turn our mics off? All the microphones off? Let's just get rid of that switch.
Good morning, gentlemen. I've been a chronicler of times in Mecklenburg County since 1969, and we've had several sheriffs since that time, and none of them had looked like any of you. So I commend you all for your services and your plans to serve in that capacity. My question is, with 4 of you, time is critical, so give me your 2 most significant things that you believe are wrong with the Sheriff's Department since you're running, and why and how you would fix it and if you can take maybe 15 seconds each.
Good morning, Ken. Thank you for your question. Yes. So, two things that are wrong and how I plan to fix it. First thing is leadership and how it's managed. Second thing is staffing. Everything that you do in the sheriff's office is predicated on your ability to staff. The level of service that you're constitutionally obligated to provide hinges on your ability to staff. So leadership and staffing are the two main priorities.
Good morning, King. Two main things that I think are paramount right now would be safety and security of the staff and the people under your care. The second would be recruitment and retention. We have to retain people before we can recruit people. So that's one of the most important things.
For me, it's safety and leadership. I believe having a different administration at the sheriff office will dramatically bring back more employees and retain employees. So safety, also leadership, safety. It's just two things. Okay, you gotta be it now.
Speaking from who's at the sheriff's office now, and probably the most direct would be because others are speaking from what they have heard. Mental health of my deputies and resources in funding. Resources and funding is what we need now. And mental health for my staff. Yesterday, my staff evicted 100 people out of their homes. That is a mental crisis that we are engaged in. The mental crisis also that our numbers have went up about 200 since the new law of Irina's law. And so our numbers inside the detention center has risen. And so mental health for my staff and funding.
All right, this is for all of you, and I wrote it down so I can be concise. So I was pregnant while incarcerated in the Mecklenburg County Jail, as many of you know, and received no prenatal care. Research shows this is still happening. Incarcerated women continue to face worse birth outcomes than the general population. And as someone who now advocates for reproductive justice and better conditions of jails and prisons, I'm asking, will your administration commit to providing access to doulas and certified birth workers for pregnant incarcerated women? And will mothers be able to pump and store breast milk for their babies? These aren't luxuries, they're evidence-based interventions that protect maternal and infant health. So what's your plan?
That room inside the detention center is now being made for mothers who want to feed their child, but of course the children are not there. If you're familiar with caring, we have that process inside the detention center. And we also know about how we fought for the bill to unshackle expecting mothers. Myself and another sheriff, Terry Johnson, in Alamance County fought for that, for the dignity of our women. But simply having incarcerated young women there is a problem, and we look forward to the community to assist us in helping that with the expecting mothers.
That's a great question. I actually never thought about that. So I'll be open to collaborating with women in the community to come up with a plan to actually facilitate that to complete that for sure.
Thank you for the question. That's paramount. I think two things we never leave behind, and that's mothers and youth. And so anything that we can do to better that situation, I think that that's one of the things that needs to be at the forefront, because just because you're incarcerated, you're still a mother and that child still needs care. And that's one of the bonding things we need to make sure it occurs.
Thank you, Christy. Absolutely. So one of the things when you talk about prenatal care in addressing this and making sure that we have a duty and a moral obligation to protect everyone and to serve everyone and to care for everyone that is in our charge. So to ensure that that is done, and even on the business level, by ensuring that the RFP that I have with our medical provider, that those things are built in to ensure that they provide those type of services consistently without fail for anyone that has special needs inside our facility.
right, let me go.
Okay, this question is for Ricky. I was listening to your platform and you said that, you could, increase, I guess, the low turnout, I guess, whatever it is with, employment with the sheriff's department. And you've been with CMPD for, quite 35 years. So me as a voter and a citizen, I'm just kind of stuck between that, because if that is a good thing, you've been with CMPD and they have a low, they need help with employment. So is it that they don't trust and value your work with the people that you feel that you can bring to CMPD? Or what is it? Because I'm just confused. I'm just trying to balance out, how can you do it with the sheriff's department if you can't get it right with the CMPD?
Okay. Thank you. Number one, I'm not in charge of recruitment right now, so that's not a division I'm over. It's sure you're responsible for the entire department. I think you start at the top. Number one, you have to be able to retain employees. If you retain employees at whatever level you are and whatever business you're in, your recruitment efforts are going to be there by themselves. So we have to fix the problem of how and why we're losing employees. I think that starts, like I said, with leadership, with what they expect of your leader, what you show them, and that you show that you care about the employees, that you're working with the employees. You're going to be able to retain a lot of people. That is going to help. Like I said, I've recruited before and had no problem with recruitment working for the department. So I think that's the main thing, is making sure we can retain, and then that looks forward to the recruitment.
All right, we have Ms. Blunt, Dr. Penn.
Yeah, Dr. Blanche Penn here. Good morning, good evening, and good night. My question to you is, what commitment can you make today to ensure both our seniors are protected and our youth are guided, not punished, towards a better future? Thank you, amen, praise God.
I think it's important to understand that the youth are the future, right? So I have a close connection with the youth, working as an officer inside the jail, dealing with individuals who are very young, who don't really have mentors in their life to understand that bad decisions ruin your life. And they have to understand that from an individual who is closer to their age. They don't really take individuals who are too much older than them seriously, because they view them as parents versus the individual who is close to their age. And as far as the elderly in our community, I believe that having their strong presence in the community, by just being active, showing up, having deputies present, would help that issue. Thank you.
Dr. Penn. So I have an affinity for young and elderly people. I think that it is extremely important. And one of the things in my role while I was at the sheriff's office is I served on the board of Right Moves for Youth for years, trying to create a different pathway for kids, not just about incarceration or punishment, but to show them a different way, in a way that they can overcome certain circumstances to be productive citizens in our community. And the same thing for elderly folks. I mean, they have paid their dues. They are in the twilight years, and I think that we, in whatever resources that we can, that to be able to support that population group as well.
Thank you. Seniors in our community, they lay the foundation. So everything that we do is rooted by the seniors, and that's what we follow. And that's, like they say, you learn from people that are older, and you should follow in their steps. The youth, if you know, from day one, I've always said that I believe in our youth. I know we have to help our youth. It's not about punishment. And that's why one of the things I want to do is make sure we're helping them here. They need to be here, close to home, close to family, because that's the way you correct the problems. We have to make sure that we're nurturing them and that they have the support base that they need. And the only way you do that is by keeping them close to family and community.
So currently, my community engagement unit is presently in your schools each and every day today. Not a promise that has to be made, it's already being done. Most of you don't know, because of the rhetoric in the media, that we have a free summer camp for 50 youth every summer, that we actually pick up the youth, bring them to our summer camp, and I classify it as no dogs and no burgers because we do not feed them hot dogs and hamburgers. We have a restaurant in the city that provides them meals each and every day of our free summer camp. The elderly, we go to the rest homes each and every week also with my community engagement unit. And God bless Mrs. Sarah Stevenson, we attended while she was there and even celebrated her birthday while she was there. So we are presently engaged with the community, with our youth. We even take our youth on what they call Shop with the Sheriff. We take 50 youth from our city, close down Target each and every Christmas holiday, and allow each of those youth to shop with a $250 gift card. So we're already taking care of our youth, but we're going to continuously take care of our youth, and we're going to continuously take care of our elderly. That is a job that we have taken on as the Sheriff's Office with my nationally recognized community engagement unit. Thank you.
Before we move forward, in the interest of efficiency, if you would like your question to be addressed to a specific candidate, please acknowledge that, and we can move a bit faster.
Good morning. I'm Dr. Rashawn Flanoy, CEO of Quality Comprehensive Health Center. My question is for everyone. What strategies will you implement to address mental health and substance use issues within the jail systems and while during re-entry?
Addressing mental health is extremely important. I talk about this all the time on my platform, and that is addressing mental health issues. When I worked inside the jail, we had individuals who were incarcerated who weren't really addressed. They would have issues where they would get on lockdown 23 and 1 hours a day. And instead of receiving the proper care, these individuals were locked down as if they were actually people who actually committed certain crimes, right? So addressing mental health, I think, comes down to not only creating programs and building on programs, but it comes down to actually making it loud and known in the community that these individuals have mental health issues and need to be addressed.
There is currently an infrastructure inside the detention center now that there are mental health services being provided. It does need to be enhanced, and the medical provider needs to be held accountable to ensure that those services expand to all those, because we all know, dealing with the detention environment, there are a lot of folks there that could benefit better from being served in a mental institution than being incarcerated. So making sure that there's a robust range of services around surrounding mental health is something that I would really shore up with the medical provider.
Thank you. I agree with what Collins and the sheriff also said. Like I said, there are programs in place, they just need to be better. We need to always challenge ourselves to do better, especially when it comes to mental health. Mental health is serious, it's something that's out there, and unless we get the best programs, the best people trained, and also our staff trained to notice when somebody is dealing with a mental health issue versus somebody that's just violent. Because if you can't tell the difference between the two, then they're not going to get the treatment that they need. So I believe that programs are good. We need to have better programs. We need to make sure that the staff and everyone involved in that situation is aware of those programs. And like I said, especially having the ability and the tools to recognize things at an early stage until they're later in their life, and we have a lot more problems.
In 2019, I created North Carolina's first mental health for behavioral health inside the Mecklenburg County Detention Center. We at Mecklenburg County Detention Center created this for men. 1 year later, we created the health unit for women. Understand that was no additional funding to the county. In the middle of COVID, 2022.
I didn't get that. Could you try again?
In the middle of COVID in 2022, we also were contacted by North Carolina Department of Health and Human Resources to implement another program because they saw what we were doing in Mecklenburg County. So in the middle of COVID in 2022, we created what they call the RISE program, Restoring Individually, Safely, and Effectively. Because of that, North Carolina decided to fund the institution inside the Mecklenburg County Detention Center at $4.5 million. So no money is coming from the county. In the middle of that, we've done so well with that the state came to us again in 2024 and asked us to continue our mental health inside the detention center. So now the RISE program inside the Mecklenburg County Detention Center services 36 other sheriff's offices in North Carolina. So we have the means, we have the resources, and we have the space. Believe it or not, last Monday we had another meeting with the North Carolina Department of Health and Human Resources to continue our mental health program inside the detention center. We are now going to take on almost the entire state of North Carolina with a 25-bed unit inside the detention center to restore individually safely and effectively. We have received 109 people inside. We received 109 people inside the institution, and 67% have been restored back so they can go to court. Why that is important? Because before this program, an individual inside the detention center, prior to me arriving there, was there for 11 years. Currently now, inside the detention center, we have individuals waiting to go to court that been waiting for 6 years. So the program is effective. The program is going forward. Thank you.
Before we go on to the next question, panel, time is time. However, Mr. Terry Bradley has given us the option. If we go over, we have to 10:30. But again, if you have obligations, you have obligations. But I just wanted to let you know we have the ability to extend to 10:30 if you guys are able to stay. Now we will have a question from Sharif.
Good morning, everyone. Sharif Anand. I'll get right to it. The Juvenile Detention Center was closed in 2022, yet juveniles from our county are still in pretrial detention and still serving their sentences. Where are they being held? My understanding is that they're mostly going to Cabarrus and surrounding counties. These are our kids, right? Whether they're getting caught up, misguided, and in need of help, they are far from their parents, from their families, from their ministers, from their counselors.
You have to ask your question. Your time is up.
Oh. How do you plan to address this? And do you think other counties would be better served at taking care of our kids? Thank you.
So in order to have the juveniles back in Mecklenburg County, we have to have employee retention. We need detention officers and deputy sheriffs, mainly detention officers. So in order to bring the children back, we have to have officers, we have to have staff. That comes with leadership that is accountable and that people want to work for. So it's extremely important that we have the right leadership in place that people want to work at the sheriff's office. It's not an easy job. So it comes down to having staff. Thank you.
Good morning, Sharif. So, that's a great question. Let me explain some things and provide a historical perspective about juvenile detention and where it actually belongs. Yes, you made some great points about kids being away from family here in Mecklenburg. And when we did operate a juvenile detention center, we did an exceptional job at it because that infrastructure was built going back to youthful offenders, 16 and 17-year-olds that were adjudicated as adults. One of my experiences in the sheriff's office, I ran the Gatlin Juvenile Detention Center that closed in Huntersville in 2009. There were approximately 5 or 6 kids on any given day, but you had this massive infrastructure of a psychologist, security personnel, nursing staff, programming persons, and you had full-time teachers and teachers' aides for this structure to support these kids. And it became cost prohibitive to continue to do so in Mecklenburg. Juvenile detention inherently belongs to the state of North Carolina Department of Public Safety. When going back to raise the age, when the law was changed, the Juvenile Reinvestment Act, the state of North Carolina has yet to make an investment in Mecklenburg. This is the largest, most populous county. We have a juvenile crime problem. Nothing has ever been built here. So fast forward to 2019, when we opened it again at Detention Center North, only to close it
in 2022, 3-year contract, citing the same reasons going back to 2009. So really, when you talk about where juvenile detention belongs, it belongs to the state of North Carolina. And the other piece is that it had an unintended consequence because the state has a ratio in state law of 8 to 1 per officer. That is staff prohibited. And it really caused a staffing issue at the primary jail central downtown, that created staffing issues that we're still trying to dig away out of.
Thank you. One of the things, if you know, that's been one of my biggest things is juvenile detention center. And I understand that there's always going to be, staffing comes up first, that's what comes up. What I'll tell you is, Mecklenburg County is my home, this is where I was born. And I don't believe in accepting of what you can't do, especially when it comes to our youth. Our youth are very important to me. They should be very important to everybody else because that's our future. People, if we incarcerate people, like I said, they're not there for punishment. We need to have the tools, we need to have the training and things in place. But these youth need to be close to home. Yes, it's gonna take, you can't flip a switch, it's not gonna be overnight. You have to build your staffing back up. And I think if you don't start today, working toward tomorrow, then we're gonna still stay stagnant. We're gonna just stay here and just look at it, and we're gonna keep complaining and saying, what can we do, what can we do? We have to start now, preparing ourselves and planning, but there's no reason why, if we're the largest county in North Carolina, why we don't have a juvenile detention center, and why we're sending our youth to smaller counties, smaller departments, get our department where it needs to be, and we can have what we need to have in Mecklenburg County.
The juvenile detention center does need to be open, but how is it going to open? It takes 96 people to staff it. In Mecklenburg County, we are pulling from the same pool. Pineville, Matthews, Minfield, Huntersville, Cornice, and Davidson all pulling from the same pool of employees. We talk negatively towards law enforcement, so individuals do not want to come and work for law enforcement. The juvenile detention center was open under my administration in 2019, and it was closing in 2022 because the Department of Human Health Resources targeted us for various reasons. During that targeting, we found out that they had lied about their inspections and they were never held accountable. Last Tuesday, we held a forum at the Valerie Woodard Center to look at how can we reopen it. So we are moving forward to look at how it's being reopened. In Mecklenburg County now, to have the juvenile service outside of Mecklenburg County is costing Mecklenburg County about $3.2 million. $3.2 million. To reopen that juvenile detention center in North Mecklenburg, it will cost approximately $14 million to run each and every year. So we are open to it to be run, but first of all, you have to staff it with 96 people, and that means 96 individuals have to be trained, certified, and come inside. But we also have to talk about the $1 million worth of food services. We also have to talk about the services of mental health. We also have to talk about the services of just servicing the youth. So we are open to do it at $14 million. And of course, it is not our mandate to open it. It is the state's mandate to open it. And they are the ones supposed to be opening juvenile detention centers. But of course, we will be open to it. This is why we had the meeting last week, open forum to everybody come to the table and tell us what you want to do. We are willing to do it, but at $14 million, and that is what it's going to cost to open that juvenile detention center versus $3.5 million to run it now. Thank you.
Good morning, Nassif Ibn from Charlotte Muslim Caucus. I wanted to ask the newcomers and also McFadden, but what culture do you envision establishing when you are elected, or if you are elected as sheriff? And where does the culture you feel falls short today? And for McFadden, what is the culture of the jail currently, and where do you feel like you can improve or you're interested in improving?
Well, the kind of culture I envision for the sheriff office is a culture of accountability. We have to retain employees, because again, law enforcement is a difficult profession to be in. We have to treat our employees the way we like to be treated, and really value our employees and make sure they know that we are there for them, to support them, to make sure they're safe, and to just honor their commitment to serve the sheriff's office. I believe that really valuing your employees is how you get a successful company or office. So thank you.
I envision a culture of top-down accountability. Starts with me. I envision a culture of professionalism, competence, and skill. Something that there's a lot of training and things that we're required to do annually and ongoing as part of our growth and professional growth and development. So ensuring those things, having a positive culture, treating people with dignity and respect, everybody that's in your charge, from those that you're serving this community to your employees, a positive culture, a professional culture, a culture that's results driven, that will go about fulfilling the obligations that they're required to do day in and day out without fail consistently. That is the type of culture I want to establish in the Mecklenburg County Sheriff's Office.
Thank you. The main thing that I always focus on when you talk about culture is safety. I think everybody that is an employee or somebody that's under my care, you deserve to go home. So everybody deserves to be safe. Everybody deserves attention. Everybody deserves to be listened to. I want a culture where people are free to talk, free to speak, and at the same time that when I address the problem, it's not because you're angry, you're mad, it's trying to make sure we fix the problem. I want people coming to work to where they feel safe, secure, and valued, because value means a lot when you work for a company. You know, and if we get deputies and detention officers that feel like that they're valued, I think that that work itself, you're gonna get 100%. So you'll get your things in return.
Coming as the first African-American sheriff inside the Mecklenburg County Sheriff's Office, changing the culture of the good old boy syndrome and the way it has been ran was very difficult. Because when you are brainwashed to do as I say and don't ask questions, and then you have a sheriff's office now that is progressive, outspoken, and community engaged, it is different. Humanity, we're talking about humanity. The culture of humanity must remain inside the sheriff's office. And that's not only for my staff, it is also for the people who are incarcerated inside the sheriff's office. So when we're talking about culture, the outside influence or the undermining of our office has always been there. And so we're still going to strive to be a great sheriff's office, but let us work within our office and not undermine our office. But changing the sheriff's office from a good old boy culture to a progressive culture, that where it is now, it is still in a progressive state. But we will continue to do that. But humanity and respect is paramount in my office. Thank you.
Keith Williams, resident, taxpayer, and voter. What's the difference between a public servant and a politician, and which one are you?
Hello.
Great question. A public servant is an individual who places people before he places himself. And he doesn't need any motivation besides to serve the people. Me personally, I'm an elected union representative, and I do everything I do for free because I love it that much. Serving people, placing them before I place myself is why I'm doing this. So that to me is what public service is about. Thank you.
Thanks, sir. I'm trying to be a politician, but I've been in public service all my adult life, and I'm proud to say I'm a public service. I'm on call 24/7 for you and anybody in Charlotte, Mecklenburg County when any event happens. That's even today. So I'm proud to be a public servant. I'm proud to serve the community and the citizens of Charlotte, Mecklenburg County. At the same time, this is an elected position, so you have to have some political side to you. But to answer your question directly, I'm proud to say, you know, that I'm a public servant. I have no problem with that.
Keith, I am a public serving. I've spent my entire adult life in service of something, whether it's my country first or serving locally in this community. So this is an elected office. We're required to go through this in order to obtain that seat. But by and large, I am wholeheartedly a public service and still believe in the nobility of public service.
The process is political, so we are just in a political process. If anyone knows me, I am a servant of this community. I didn't come to serve this community during election season, and I didn't come to serve this community on one day. If you look at my track record, I'm in the community each and every day, whether you want me there or not. And I'm serving this community, not only in churches, in schools, feeding the homeless on the block, and just going from door to door. So I am a servant of this community. The process is just political, and we are tagged as politicians because of the process.
All right, next question.
Hi, I'm Rasheed Sadler, and I just wanted to ask, how will you serve undocumented immigrants in the Mecklenburg County going through either like the Mecklenburg County jail system or the courts?
I'd like a little more context in reference to your question. Because immigration is a hot topic.
Just in general, because there's a lot of undocumented immigrants within Mecklenburg County, and they may go through the Mecklenburg County court system or go through a Mecklenburg County jail. So what resources will you provide for them?
Well, we make no distinction about anyone who comes into the detention center via an arrest. There's no distinction. Their process, just like anyone else who comes into contact with the system. But in terms specifically of immigration and immigration enforcement, I believe that is a federal issue that should remain a federal issue. And it's not the responsibility of local law enforcement to enforce immigration and customs law.
So we treat them how we treat everyone else. There is no distinction, there's no discrimination. And again, I agree with Mr. Collins that it should remain a federal issue. It's not something that SHIP always has been, but it will be the immigration enforcement agency. But we believe in treating everyone the same, regardless of your status, regardless of where you come from, et cetera.
Thanks, sir. The law tells us what we can and can't do when it comes to immigration. You have to go back by those guidelines. At the same time, it's not my job as sheriff to do the federal government's job. So it's not my job to send out deputies to assist ICE, any other federal agency. When it comes to immigration, it's only my job when people have been brought into the jail to do what the law says as far as their notification in that process. So that's where I guess you draw the line. So we're not actively involved. We're just doing whatever the law says do after a person has been incarcerated and brought into the detention center.
Immigration is a hot topic. House Bill 10 started the topic way before that, and 287G, which I took off the table. We do not do any enforcement with the local law enforcement or with ICE. But let me make sure that you understand this. House Bill 318 mandates us to cooperate with ICE to a certain point. North Carolina General Statute 162.62 mandates every sheriff's office in North Carolina to follow a particular guidelines to operate with ICE. We do not do enforcement. In reference to the courts, on October 17th, I had a meeting with ICE and gave them policies and procedures in how to operate in and around the courthouse. Previously, they were wearing masks, fighting people in the duck pond, and going to the court hiding behind bushes. Because of the meeting that we had on October 17th, now they are following strict rules and guidelines. But you have to understand this. ICE and CBP are two different organizations, but also under the guidelines of DHS. So they cannot tell anybody what to do. ICE cannot tell
CPD what to do, and CPD can't tell ICE what to do. So these are going to be controversial issues in North Carolina. But inside the detention center and inside the jail, commonly referred to as jail, we call it detention center, there are policies and procedures that are in place now of how they are conduct their business. If there is someone that ICE wants inside the courthouse, they are to notify us. They go through a process and procedures. They go to the courthouse. We do not assist them with the arrest. We're just assisting the safety of our employees and the visitors coming to the courthouse. So we do have policies already in place that we put in place in October after the shooting in Houston, but we still have to be guided under House Bill 318 and North Carolina General Statute 162.62. When House Bill 10 was done, we fought it, I fought it, went to Raleigh, and continue to fight it. But then House Bill 318 came about, and we have to still follow the law of House Bill 318 and North Carolina General Statute 162.62. Thank you.
Sheriff McFadden, you wanna, what are the acronyms you use? The acronyms?
House Bill?
Well, no, you said, well, ICE we know is Immigration Customs Enforcement.
And Customs Border Patrol, CBP, Custom Border Patrol.
All right, thank you. So house rule, anytime you use an acronym, go ahead and fill it out. This comes to my question. For those who are not well versed in the subject, what would an ideal jail scenario look like to you, to each one of you? Like what would it be like? Again, if you had, what would an ideal scenario be for the sheriff to manage the structure of the Mecklenburg County Jail? Again, what resources, things you would like, implementations. What would an ideal scenario look if you were sheriff?
Thank you, sir.
In a minute.
Seconds. First thing I think is staffing. I would love to have full staffing, because if you have your staffing, all these issues I think that arise, you can accommodate each and every one of them, because that's where our main goal and where our main focus is. So staffing would be the first thing. If we could do that, I think that I could accomplish 90% of what my goals are. And I think you have to start showing the public immediately after you get into office that you're going in the right direction. It's not, I don't want to be delayed and putting things off. I think you need to see immediate action.
An ideal detention center starts with, for one, being fully staffed and being able to provide a level of service. It also has deep programs, because I believe that when people are in that circumstance and are in custody, that they're better served when they're engaged and have something to do and have some hope as to changing their outcomes post-incarceration. So an ideal facility for me is one that is fully staffed, that is safe, that is clean, that provides excellent medical care, that is full of an array of programs so that people can be engaged in different things
You'll need to unlock your
change
iPhone
their
first.
outcome when post-incarceration. So that is my ideal detention environment. I did work in the jail too, you know.
Well, for me, the ideal detention center would be a place where employees are safe and a place that inmates are safe. We had around, up until this point, around 23 deaths, 24 deaths under the current administration, and that is alarming for me. And I don't think that it's safe. So I think that a place with a strong leader, safety, and a strong staff, and being well staffed would help, would be my ideal situation for the jail.
No death inside the Mecklenburg County Detention Center were caused by any of my staff. It is called poor health, being incarcerated with poor health. A fully staffed detention center would be ideal. A program heavy, more than we have now, which is more than, we have more programs than any other detention center in North and South Carolina. So with additional programs. But what I would love to see is more community engagement inside from the community. Being more engaged with our
residents, we don't call them inmates, instead of looking from outside and creating what you believe should be. Come inside, help our men and women inside, be more engaged with the men and women inside, and learn more about the detention center.
All right, next question.
Yeah, thank you very much, everyone. Again, Paul Nelson here, I'm Regional Director for the African Think Tank. The African community is here. I moved from Washington, D.C., a Howard grad, but I noticed we're not that represented or we're not taking active roles here. So my question is, you talked about being community engaged, Brother McFadden. So what types of engagements are you embarking on or plan to embark on with the immigrant community here, particularly the African community? And I'll ask you that and I'll pass it on to the rest of the time. Thank you.
Well, I engage with the African community each and every day because I am a descendant of the Igbo tribe. And if you are not familiar, that we just had a gala on just before New Year's, and I was invited to speak. So we are very much engaged with the African community. We're engaged with the African community as far as medicine and doctors now, to be more engaged with that. But knowing my culture and finding my culture this past year, I'm a very proud Nigerian Igbo with 50% Scottish. So we are engaged with this. We also engage with the community. So we're very much engaged. Thanks. Scottish.
Community engagement is very important for the sheriff's office, and that would be something that I really would like to get on with community engagement. But for now, I would like to focus on the jail issues, which is safety. I believe that's extremely important currently, and I'd like to focus on that. And once the jail is under control, we have enough staff, we have safety protocols in place to keep the inmates and the jail staff safe, then we can focus on community engagement.
Thanks, sir. I think it's important that we engage with every community and get to know the community and what we have out here. I think that's an asset to everyone here in the community, especially to the sheriff, because we represent the entire Mecklenburg County. So I'm all for getting to know you and everybody in your community and any other community, and anything that I can do to engage and work with you and anyone else, regardless of where they are, then I think that's an asset, and like I said, that helps us all.
The sheriff's office serves all of Mecklenburg County. So having relationships in every segment of this community is critically important. It helps us to better serve you, and it allows us to have engagement in different things with other groups as well. So I think cultural competency is a huge thing, and it is something that I would work to ensure that all of our staff have cultural competency and engage all parts of our community.
All right, we have our next question from Ms. Cannon.
Thank you so much. My question is for the candidates running for office. My name is Rebecca Cannon. I'm a local attorney. Getting my client's medication in the jail, either going in or going out, takes an act of Congress. Most people are held in jail pre-trial. Some are innocent, yet they're dying. My question, currently there is a problem with people in jail not receiving the correct medication or any medication at all. If elected, what will you do to fix that to ensure people do not die? And people are not just dying because of bad health. They're dying because they're not receiving proper care. Thank you.
Great question, and I appreciate that. I think that it comes down to strong leadership. So if you have an individual in place, such as the sheriff, who actually cares about the staff, cares about inmate safety, that is a given. So it comes down to strong leadership, caring about the employees, caring about the staff. Again, so many people have died from the current administration. So having an individual in place who actually cares about the safety and employees is very important, and I am that individual.
Rebecca, I think it's extremely important that we provide the level of care and services that we're morally and obligated to do. So ensuring that everyone receives their medication, there are mechanisms in place, but in making sure that folks adhere to our policies and guidelines, and that those are enforced consistently without fail. And particularly as I circle back to having that strong medical provider and holding them accountable to the contract that we have. They're supposed to provide certain things. So ensuring that
consistently without fail to make sure that those that are in our charge, that we are taken care of.
Thank you. And as I said earlier, everyone that enters the jail deserves to return home in the same condition or better. I think that starts with accountability and training. We need to make sure that we're keeping up and make sure that staff are trained, because these things, like you said, if you're getting the wrong medication, it's the reason you're getting it. Somebody's not checking and somebody's not double checking. So we need to have things in place, and I plan to have things in place where that is not going to be a problem for me, and that should never be a problem for anybody. Once it is, that needs to be corrected immediately and never occur again. Thank you.
All right, we have a question from Ms. Carlinia Ivory.
My question is, good morning. Good morning.
Good morning.
Get them together.
The young man just alluded to my question, so you don't have to answer it. I'm going to put the statement out there. I have witnessed some of the programs that you have done when it comes to community engagement. That is very, very important. And we talk about juvenile detention. That's after the fact. I'm talking about what are we going to do? What specific programs are we going to do to be proactive? Then they don't have to go to juvenile and detention. And I say this to not only you guys who have a community engagement program, but to the city, the county, and everybody else. Gary, thank you for 50, but 50 is not enough kids going to summer camp free. All of you should be working on trying to get our kids in a safe and an educated environment.
That's Ms. Carlinia Ivory. Don't worry about it. She didn't ask a question at all, but she had a point of privilege. Now we'll go to Ms. Mary Johnson. Don't know where, you can't do that. That's only Ms. Carlinia.
Okay. This question is for Sheriff McFadden. Years ago, my mother was part of the prison ministry at my church, and she would go into the jail. This was prior to your administration. What opportunities are there now? Because I'm a retired teacher and I really would like to help some of the youth in the jail. What opportunities do you have that I could do that?
The detention center is open to anyone who wants to come and volunteer at any time, as much time as you want to. You simply fill out a volunteer form and we do a background investigation of you, and if you are accepted, you can come each and any time, as many times as you want to assist our men and women who we encourage you to do. So it is open to anyone who wants to do it. Fill out the volunteer form and we will be glad to accept you.
All right, we have a question from. Wait.
I'll pick it up.
There we go.
Ricky Mitchell, IMC. I think y'all are referring to the Amashi program. So ministers coming to the in the jail facility. Is that still active? Did I say the word correctly also?
Well, we have a chaplain service there. We have chaplains, full staff chaplains, and I think that we just hired someone from the Islamic faith also.
Dr. Matt.
Good morning. Good morning. I'm Reverend Matt, President. Thank you. President of the NACP. By virtue of incarceration, when you know the history of incarceration, we know that the data doesn't lie. Predominantly Black people are incarcerated. In knowing that, is there some way, I'm looking at 4 Black men, then you can tell me you're looking at how to ensure that there is a rehabilitation process and not just harmful process being done within the Mecklenburg County Jail. What is your idea of rehabilitating to ensure that our young people come back better than before?
Well, we are attempting to do better, and we do rehabilitation for African American men and anyone who comes there. We have programs. We have a fatherhood initiative. Before I arrived, we didn't have face-to-face visitation. You do have face-to-face visitation. You have a father initiative downstairs. We have a room, if you want to come and visit, I would encourage you to come and visit. We have rooms where we have private meetings with fathers and their children. We also have what they call the Next Great 50. We are producing men and women who leave our detention center not job ready, but they actually have their own companies, an LLC. If you go to the courthouse on any given day and see a coffee truck out in front of the courthouse, that young man making 1 year from last January to now was inside our detention center. So we are doing what we can to rehabilitate men and women, especially African American men inside, but we do need to do more, and we welcome any ideas that you have. But the fatherhood initiative and just having what we call removing the mask, where we have candid conversations with our men and our staff together, allowing us to speak openly, has been very well received.
I believe conversations are extremely important, especially when it comes to young men or really men of any age. So working as an officer inside the detention center, I've had numerous conversations with different individuals about changing their life. And I think that it's important that these individuals become rehabilitated, but also gaining skills they can apply to the real world, such as anything involving trades. As a young man or as a man in general, if you have a trade or a skill, you will always be able to make money. So I think that's very important to not only teach these guys that they can be better people, but to give them the skills to be a better person.
Thank you, Reverend Matt. Programs are important. The Sheriff's Office right now has a lot of programs. I think we need to make sure one thing is the programs that we have are the programs that are helping really to help them when they leave the jail and not return. We need to make sure that we stay on top of that. If there are extra programs that we need to add, then we need to make initiatives to do that. But it should always be about rehabilitating people and giving them a value. If you value yourself, you'll value others. So something that we can give them to give a value to themselves when they get out. Because the last thing I want to do is see somebody return. The goal is to keep them out. I don't want them to be happy in jail, I want them to leave. So that's my problem. And I want to make sure that I help them go down the road and not return and make them proud of themselves and their family proud of them.
The Sheriff's Office has been very active for decades in terms of programs. I think that there has to be a constant evaluation of their effectiveness and making sure that we stay on top of current trends, but making sure that people have an opportunity and providing those opportunities within our detention center to be constructive, to have a means of developing skills that are transferable post-incarceration is critically important. And I think that we have a massive infrastructure as it pertains to programs, ensuring that that's continually supported, that the program providers that we have are actually on point, making solid programs and really changing outcomes is something that's critically important that I fully support.
All right, we have a question from Carrie.
Good morning, Carrie Nelson. I have heard over and over again, you talk about staffing issues. I believe that your staffing or getting people to want to be a part of your department might improve if you have better community relations. So how would you all propose to improve community relations?
Having strong communication with the public is essential, and I believe that in order to have a strong staff or to have a fully staffed sheriff's office, you have to make it not a fun place to work, but a bearable place to work. People have to want to work for you, and it comes down to treating them the way you want to be treated. And if you can do that, and you have a good image in the public as a leader, people will work for you and they will appreciate you. It comes down to how you treat your employees. I truly believe that.
Great questions. Staffing is critically important. And when you look at staffing right now, when you have over a few hundred vacancies, when you look at an organization that at one point had over 1,500 employees, it's now down to a little over 700, that is a problem. So I think a lot of it, a sheriff's office that isn't managed well doesn't serve its community well. So ensuring that we manage our personnel, we make it a place that's welcoming and inviting for employees, but also in the community, creating those opportunities, job fairs, all those things where we're engaged to show that this is a great place to work. We have great benefits, we have an attractive salary, so to make it really appealing for those to come in there. It is a tough job, but being forthright and honest with people up front about what it entails, I think also can be critically important towards our improving our staffing and retention.
Thank you. I think what you have to look at when people want to work for law enforcement especially, first thing they do is talk to law enforcement officers. They talk to people that are there right now. If you're out here on the street and you're talking to people that work there now, then that's what you're going to get. People that work for you are telling the public that this is a great place to work, that they have great benefits, that they take care of you. Like I said, the retention is there, the recruitment element comes by itself. Because everybody in here wants to work for somebody good. We all want to be happy when we go to work. We all want to return home safe. So I think if we can fulfill that, then I think that will help itself, because being engaged with the community means more than just going out on a Saturday. You got to be engaged daily. And every contact that each and every one of us has with a law enforcement officer, that could be your first and only contact. So if that's not a positive contact and you don't feel impressed, then that's not going to make you want to work there. So if we can impress people from who we have working for us, I think that's going to help build up that morale. That's going to help build up the staff.
We do engage with the community and we'll continue to engage with the community, but it takes much more than that. We talk negatively about our sheriff's office more than ever. And so because of that, people don't want to work there because the public and the media talks negatively about it. If you talk positive about your sheriff's office, then people may will come more. But again, we have to understand that the Mecklenburg County Sheriff's Office is not a full-service sheriff's office, and it's never have been. And we are moving towards being a full-service sheriff's office. What does that mean? People come believing that they're working in law enforcement, but they're truly not working in law enforcement, and they go and work for other agencies. Believe it or not, you could work as security guard for QT Express for $61,000 a year. So it is very competitive, and we are trying to move where the numbers are more competitive, and we are. But you simply have to understand, we are fighting for the same pool of people in Mecklenburg County with the largest police department in the state, and also the more progressive agencies in the state. So we're pulling from the same pool of people to be employees with the sheriff's office. But simply talking negatively is not helping us. Thank you.
All right. All right, we have a question from an online viewer. Sheriff Gary McFadden made the detention center a place unique for people for second chances. What will you all do to ensure opportunities for people that enter the jail? Will you continue the programs that Sheriff McFadden has created for his residents, or will they be dismantled? Will you continue to call them residents or call them inmates? And lastly, will people with loved experience still have an opportunity to work with the programming, or will that change as well? That is from Tijuana Brown.
Thank you, Tijuana Brown, for your question. So, having folks with lived experience being able to come into that environment, I think is critically important, because as a law enforcement professional and a career person in the sheriff's office, I think that serving that population is better when you have someone with lived experience, because they're more relatable. So I am certainly open to that. Any program that is effective in working, I would keep. I don't like monikers. I don't like the word resident. We're residents of Mecklenburg County. I don't think you need to define that in your detention environment. That is a person or human being that is in custody. I can call you by your name, Mr. or Mrs. would be my preference. I don't have to label you as an inmate as well. So I think that just simply being a human about it and humanizing it and calling a person by their name, Mr. or Mrs., not having a specific title, but in order to ensure that our programs are effective, that constant reevaluation and making sure that we're serving that population.
So I believe those programs that are there are already good, and when it comes to starting a new administration, you build upon what the previous sheriff has already established. I think that the current sheriff has done the same thing, and the sheriff that came before him has done the same thing. They built off what the previous sheriff had established. As far as the title of calling a person an inmate or a resident, again, I agree with Mr. Collins. When I employed that sheriff, I called them by their name. We didn't call them an inmate, we didn't call them a resident, we called them by their name. That's just how we did it. The inmate or a resident is more of a title, but the term resident doesn't really apply to a person that's incarcerated.
Thank you, Ms. Brown. I don't think we're trying to reinvent the wheel, so if there are programs in place and those programs work, I don't think that would be smart to ever take away from a program that's successful. I think you build on those, and if you need to add other programs, then that's what you do also. As far as a resident or inmate, whatever word works to keep you from coming back to my jail, then I'll call you. So I'm good with that. So I don't think that by calling someone an inmate or resident is gonna make them act differently because they're incarcerated. I think it's the treatment that they're getting. I think it's the medication that they're getting. I think it's the way that the deputies treat the people that are incarcerated. I think that's what they look at. Is I don't think that people understand it's not where you're running down the hall yelling inmate, inmate, or resident, resident. So I don't think that label or title is what we need to be looking at. We need to be looking to see if we're making it a better environment, if we're making it a safer environment, and if we're keeping it to where, like I said, they don't return. Our job is to make you better when you leave so that you don't return. It's make it better for your family and hopefully rehabilitate you and help you to get successful on the outside. Thank you.
We will continue to call them residents, and we will continue to call it a detention center. Sure, we do call them by name also, but what title will you give them when you have to speak about them? You're gonna have to say something besides Mr. and Mrs. And we do say Mr. and Mrs. and give them the ultimate respect, which they never had at the prior administrations before I arrived. So humanity is important to me, and we will continue to relabel. And this label went national, so understand it. It just didn't start with me, but I will continue it as a label of giving somebody the respect that says a resident of a detention center for her rehabilitation. Thank you.
All right, before we go to you, Miko, and your question, I wanted to know the panel, if you're all able to stay to 10:30. If not, we totally understand. Is that okay? Say no. Yeah. We know who the real sheriff is. Come on, man. He ain't got to run. All right, Miko, go ahead with your question.
My question is, what type of educational background experience do you have and qualifications, or what actual highest position any one of y'all had looking past the sheriff? Okay, come. Yeah, you can start. I want you, Antoine, to answer that one first.
Thank you for the question. I don't think a person's education disqualifies them from being a sheriff. I have a high school diploma, and as far as qualifications, to run for sheriff, you have to be 21 years old, live in the county, have a clean criminal background, and I do fit those qualifications. Thank you.
No education.
Ricky Robbins, graduated University of North Carolina, Charlotte, supervised sergeant, command over several divisions within CMPD. So my total experience in law enforcement, I've been supervising commanding for 30 years at CMPD.
So I have a bachelor's degree in criminal justice. I have a master's degree in business administration and MBA. My first promotion was to sergeant in 1996. My second promotion was to captain in 1998. My third promotion was to major, which is an executive level position in the sheriff's office. And then my final promotion was to chief deputy, the position I held almost 7 years prior to retiring. So with each of those steps, you learn something different. There's a different level of responsibility. So going all the way from an entry-level position to chief deputy really prepares you for the role. There are certain educational requirements for personnel. I think that a sheriff should exceed those. If you expect that from your personnel, then you should have a higher level of education as well. So I think those things are critically important. That is my educational background. I also attended the prestigious Northwestern University School of Police Staff and Command, which is one of the premier law enforcement training programs in the country.
All right, we have Christy, then we have Danielle.
All right, so I've been a public interest lobbyist since 2021, and I've seen how the North Carolina Sheriff's Association often lobbies against the changes that Mecklenburg County voters support. So my questions are, how will you balance your relationship with the North Carolina Sheriff's Association when their positions contradict what Mecklenburg County voters want? And will you be willing to break with the association when necessary to represent us? Or will you return to the good old boy system?
Great question, Christy. I think that as an elected sheriff in Mecklenburg County, you always have to align with Mecklenburg's interest, regardless of where that puts you with the North Carolina Sheriff's Association. We're not going to walk lock and step, because each sheriff that makes up that body is responsible for their jurisdiction. So they're going to vote and do things that are in the best interest of their constituents, and I would do the same thing. So that there will be times that we're in agreement, and there will be other times that we won't. One of the things that I thought was very interesting and would like to push them about is the prerequisites to become sheriff. That's a very low bar to just be 21 years old, live in Mecklenburg, and not be convicted of a felon to sit up here and run for office. I think that's a very low bar, and something that we should push through the North Carolina Sheriff's Association as well.
Thank you, Christy. I'll tell you that citizens of Mecklenburg County elect you into the office, and I think that you're doing an injustice when you don't represent the county and stand up for what Mecklenburg wants, because the people in this room, I'm supposed to support you just as you supported me. And so I have no problem going against the grain and making sure that what Mecklenburg County wants is in the best interest of Mecklenburg County, because this is where I'm going when I want something, and I don't want you turning your back on me. So trust me, I'm not going to turn my back on you.
I run for sheriff to serve the citizens of Mecklenburg County. I believe that's very important to stick to what I'm running for, and that's to be the protector of the citizens of the county, and I believe putting them first. As far as the political things, that always takes a back side to the people. So I believe in placing the people first and county residents first.
I often fight with the North Carolina Sheriff Association and Mr. Eddie Caldwell, the executive leader. Why? Because I do not always agree with what they are agreeing with, because they usually agree with most of the other sheriffs who do not look like me and who are not Democratic sheriffs. So we understand that Eddie Caldwell has a job to do, but oftentimes I fight with him. The reason I fight with him so many times is because my position on the national level is also the national board member of the National Sheriff Association, which comes under North Carolina, which I'm on the board, and the Major County Sheriffs of America, which I also am a representative of 13 other states, including North Carolina, and we fight very much with Mr. Caldwell and what we call the good old boy system in Raleigh. So yes, we will continue to fight with them. We continue to not side with them, and I believe that if you look at it or Google, that I have fought with them on every House bill issue that has been addressed. House Bill 10, House Bill 318, and of course 307. So yes, I'm a member of North Carolina Sheriff Association, proud member of their school, but I will also fight against them when I think it's wrong, and I will continuously to fight against them with the wrong. And you can Google it to see that we have been fighting on issues I think is very important, including the issues of North Carolina, but most of all, Mecklenburg County.
All right, Danielle.
Hi, Danielle Thomas here. So many people in the Mecklenburg County Detention Center have not been convicted of a crime. They're there because they're poor, they're mentally ill, or both. So should the sheriff actively advocate for reducing pretrial detention, even if that means fewer people in your custody?
Great question, Danielle. The sheriff's office doesn't necessarily control who's in our custody. it is a pretrial facility. And I think that we have advocated previously to move things along, because when you have cases that are sitting and the court system is stagnant and we're not able to adjudicate cases in an expedient manner, I think that people can be over incarcerated. So I'm a strong advocate for ensuring that when folks do come into our charge, that they're treated well, that they have all the services that we're required to provide, and that those cases can quickly move through court.
Thank you. Yes, I agree with what you're saying, because I think it's wrong anytime we have to hold people in a system because they can't make a bond, especially when you talk about a misdemeanor, small misdemeanor crime. So you can advocate for it, but at the same time, psychologists were saying, the courts are mandated that they be there. You're trying to get a system, but I would wholeheartedly be in favor of anything that would help us reduce the number of people incarcerated, especially people on the lower level misdemeanor crimes, just because, especially if they've been held, because they can't make a bond. I think we need to have another system in place. Everybody that's arrested is not gonna be able to make bond. Everybody that's arrested, couldn't even, because of a previous crime may not be signature bond. So we need to have something in place to where we can help those people and also cut down on the rate of people we have incarcerated.
Great question. I think that there's a lot of individuals who are incarcerated who do face mental health issues, and that process is difficult because they can't make bond, and when they get out, they end up getting locked up again with the same issues that they really can't control because they don't have a proper medication or facilities to house them. So that is something we should definitely look into.
We are very cautious when we talk about advocating, but what I do is make people aware of what is really happening inside the detention center and what are the real causes. For instance, we have a young lady now that's been incarcerated over and over just for larceny charges. She cannot make bond of $1,000. So what I do to advocate for it is make the county officials and make the public officials aware of people like that inside, to see if we can also look at what they're doing in Raleigh of making House bills that restrict us for really advocating for them. The House bill of Arena law is somewhat, some people say it's a good law, but what happens is now we are holding people inside that need mental health evaluation, but who's going to evaluate them? So we're simply just housing them now because of a law. So when things like that happen, we need to be mindful and be aware of what's happening in Raleigh when these laws come down that does affect us. But I will continue to advocate by voicing my opinion about people being incarcerated so that we will be better aware and better educated.
All right, we have a question from Trey, then we have Councilwoman YTI.
Trey Richard. So we say like innocent until proven guilty, that's Fifth Amendment. We say no proven unusual punishment, that's the 8th Amendment. Why is it legal for people to be in jail for like a year before they're proven innocent? If it's prohibited by the Constitution.
Well, the sheriff controls the jail and detention and the courts, and provides security for the courts and the jail. As far as your question, it's hard, difficult to answer because the sheriff doesn't control laws.
Anybody else want to take a shot at that?
Nobody knows why that's the case.
Yes.
Well, Trey, I think
people being held inside the detention center because of the court process and procedures. So we do not govern who comes and goes. When I am given an order to release someone, we hold them. When they are arrested, we hold them until the court proceedings. So it's just not as simple that we are doing it. It is the court system across the street. The judges and the DAs and the trial attorneys have to have a schedule and have to have a process, and that process is not governed by us. It is governed by the court system. So we are in the business of care and custody. We are just a facility that are holding people until, like for the better of the words, until they figure out what to do across the street.
All right, we have a question from, Councilwoman, Commissioner Yvette Townsend.
Good morning, everyone. Commissioner Yvette Townsend Ingram, also Commissioner YTI, if you like. I'm a member of the Board of County Commission, and we fund a portion of the sheriff's budget. So we are definitely stakeholders in addition to being residents and citizens. Wraparound services for families is what we do, and it informs, I think, everything that should happen in the jail, and particularly will inform whether or not we should bring back our juvenile detention center. Who or what agencies will you partner with to ensure incarcerated men and women get that Black village effect of the wraparound services, i.e. having parents or aunties, uncles being able to come to the jail, sit with them, outside communication. When I hear community engagement, that's what I want to hear. So what programs do we have now to encourage that, or what would you add?
There are programs, when you're saying engaging with the families?
Correct.
They are engaging with the family now. If anybody need a photo of Mother's Day, anybody need photos of Christmas, we encourage that. We built a small room just for the smaller visitations, one-on-one. We have a large room downstairs. That's why I said, instead of listening to the hype and what somebody tells you, why don't you come down and see it for yourself? And so we are engaging with family as much as we possibly can, but we also have to understand that everybody may not want to be with their loved ones. We have people rejected, but we encourage it each and every day. Like I said, a volunteer list, I can give it to you. You can come down and volunteer your time, engage with the family. We're not turning away anyone who wants to engage with their family. I wish I had a daycare for the mothers who have the children down there to separate their children from their mothers 1 or 2 days after birth causes a crisis inside my detention center. So we are trying everything that we can within the law.
I think it's critically important to provide wraparound services as best we can that falls within our purview and our capabilities. So, because I believe that those that are in custody in our waiting trial should be supported by families. So anything that the sheriff's office can do to be a facilitator, partnerships with criminal justice services and those other nonprofits that have a massive infrastructure in that space to ensure that we're supporting those that are in our charge is critically important.
Thank you. I think it's mandatory that we have wraparound services. I think that when we do not connect people with their families, we're doing a disservice to us and to them. And I think that is also, as I've said before, that is one of the biggest proponents of helping to make somebody get on the right track. Family support is the only support sometimes we have, and so if we can provide that little bit of energy, it's amazing how we all change. We're able to reintegrate and mix and talk to our families, because foundation means a lot, and sitting in a building and not be able to communicate with anybody, it causes your mind to do things. So people that don't have mental problems end up with mental problems because they're incarcerated and they're shut off from the world. So anything we can do to put you back in touch with someone else, especially family, I think that's going to be a benefit to them and to society.
Well, I think family service is a big part of the rehabilitation process for individuals in custody. Getting on the phone every day, calling your mom, calling your sister, your brother, your father, meeting them in person, via visits, and just being able to have access to your family is very important to become a better person. So I would love to expand upon what we already have and to make it more efficient and streamlined.
Question from Derek.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Derek Bass. I'm a lifelong resident of Mecklenburg County. I'm 44 years old. My question is to Sheriff McFadden. You spoke about your program involving, young individuals. My question is, why just 50 youth individuals? Why not more? Young males, especially black males in the community, who feel like we are not being heard or seen as a citizen equally, but yet a stereotypical raging black man. How would you fund this particular program?
50 is all that we can afford because we are paying it. It is not funded. If anybody knows an organization who wants to fund the daycare, fund the summer camp, we will take that on. We created this without additional funding from the county. So this is not something that the county funds or somebody's funding. We simply take my officers, place them in community engagement unit, which we formed when I got there, and we're simply doing this not with any additional funding. If anybody knows any organizations that can help us fund that, and you find people who want to work for us voluntarily, we can open up on a daily basis if you like. But it takes more than just saying, why can't we have 50? We want 150, we want 250, but how are we going to service them? You're talking about parents who do not have the ability to pick up their kids. We actually pick the kids up and drop them off for their parents because most of them don't have transportation. We have an Uber system that we do, but if anybody knows any other organization or how they can be funded, we'll take it. We'll be glad to.
All right, Kenny Robinson.
Kenny Robinson, founder of Freedom Fighting Missionaries. My question is for everybody. Freedom Fighting Missionaries is a reentry organization here in Charlotte, North Carolina. For those that don't know, close to family. There's no law that went into effect January the 1st that's already caused a rise in incarceration at the detention center. What will each of you do to help us cause a decrease caused by the onset of the increase from Ehlers Law? And remember, Ehlers Law did not add any additional funding for nothing, no staff that you say that you need, no programs, no mental health services, just an increase in incarceration. What will you do to help us cause a decrease?
Good question, Kenny. So the thing is, when you talk about prevention, because when you look at the sheriff's role in this community, and particularly around detention, we don't control who comes into our care or custody, and those decisions that landed them there are made outside of us. So when you talk about crime prevention, and you're talking about keeping people from preventing crime and preventing folks from having incarceration opportunities, I think that I'm very open and receptive to any space that I could be in, mentoring program, other things through organizations like yours that can help where we come in and speak to kids or other folks in your organization that continue to share that message about community and caring and anything that we can do to prevent someone from being incarcerated is what we have to do. That's the only way that we can decrease, is to not allow them to be there.
I believe that in order to keep people from coming to the detention center, we have to understand that it's not just the sheriff's role, it's the community's role as a whole. Okay, the sheriff does patrol the jail, and I believe the sheriff should be a voice for the community, also collaborations. But you have to understand that it requires everyone together to come together to realize, listen, these individuals are misguided, they need opportunities, they need skill sets. And once they get these skill sets, they can focus all their energy on learning those skills and applicating those skills to their life. So it takes a village. It can't be all on the sheriff's hands.
Thanks, sir. I think it goes back to engagement and engaging early, because the only prevention is when you engage, you meet people, you talk to people, you show people different avenues, because that's what gives you opportunity. It gives you the advantage over somebody else. If you never had opportunity or you never saw opportunity, then you don't know what to do. So if we can show you early on, we can be involved in getting engaged, then that's going to help. Yeah, because when people come into the system, it's like everybody knows, the sheriff's office has a system like anything else. When you're in there, it's our job to make sure you're taken care of, because you're just being held until the courts can deal and do what they need to do. So anything we can do to help on the front side, not getting you in there, but after you get in there, also preparation should continue on, Because just because somebody's in jail, that means we shouldn't be trying to help them, and like I say, because we don't want them re-entering jail. So anything positive we can do from the time that they come in, then I think that's a teaching moment for all of us.
It's going to take a collaboration with law enforcement, community, the churches, and everybody to come together to help decrease why young people or anybody is coming inside the detention center. Poverty causes crime. Starvation causes crime. If you heard me earlier, 100 people were evicted out of their homes yesterday. 198 people were evicted out of their homes the Monday after New Year's. 195 were evicted out of their home the Monday after Christmas. So we have almost 500 people evicted out of their home with little to no resources. Out of that 500, we can guarantee you this: someone will commit a crime because they're hungry, they're starving, or they're living in a van. We have to look at the holistic part of it. Poverty and crime go hand in hand. And if we don't do anything about poverty, we will have the crime and they will be incarcerated.
That's right. All right, guys. Unfortunately, we only have time for 3 more questions. And we have Ayanna, Mr. Mike Lilly, and the gentleman over by Mike Lilly and the bow tie.
Hey, y'all. So my question is for everybody. What have you done in your career, retired or actively working? I don't know the status of everybody, but what have you done in your career? What have you achieved? What have you done for the community that would benefit us for having you as our sheriff? What have you done?
Well, I have started as an officer at the sheriff's office, but currently what I do is, as a union rep, is I fight for jobs, fight for rights for employees, health insurance, I'm on the safety committee as well, and every day I fight for the rights of others. So it's important for me, as one for the sheriff, that I'm the guy that actually comes into place and say, hey, listen guys, your safety is important. It's what I'll do for you. I'll make sure I'm here to serve you guys. You guys are here to serve me. So fight for the rights of others, do the right thing by other people every single day. That's how I live my life.
Thank you for the question. My entire career I've spent serving Charlotte Mecklenburg County, publicly and privately. Privately, my Masonic life, my Shrine life. I give back to the community. I didn't start going on Beatties Ford Road when I ran for office. I'm up there every week. That's where my shrine is. I believe in working collaboratively and always have with the youth. I've coached youth football. I've helped out in athletic sports for youth. I've always believed in giving back to the community for the youth. As far as the law enforcement side, I've been a trainer and instructor for North Carolina for 30 years. I've trained and taught law enforcement, sheriff's office, Charlotte Mecklenburg Police Department, and across the state constantly, consistently for the last 30 years. I know this territory. I know the community. Like I said, I've walked and served every area of Mecklenburg County, including the 6 towns and the unincorporated area. I've done that with diligence. I've kept an impeccable record. My record is public. You can pull it. I believe that when you lead by example. That's what I've always done. I've always believed in being out front, never afraid for anybody to know what I've done. I believe that if something needs to be confronted, I confront it head on. I don't go along to get along. I do what's right for the public. I do what's right for the people that work for me. So that's what I stand for.
Great question. So we've done a lot in this community, serving for 30 years in the sheriff's office with a distinguished career, ensuring that how the sheriff's office serves this community, being intentional about our growth, professional development, making sure that the organization has professional standards and adhering to those standards and ensuring that the folks that are out there, whether they're serving processes or interacting with community, do so in a professional manner. Serving on boards, nonprofits, to ensure other opportunities for those that are impoverished, advocating for those, and even post-retirement. I took on a role at the National Criminal Justice Association on an equity committee, ensuring that those that are in justice involved can access criminal justice funds for nonprofits that are serving in those particular areas. So just a perpetual and continual service, still volunteer and work in spaces to contribute back to this community is something that I continue to do as I've lived.
So having direct accessibility to your sheriff was important. Some people say it was a mistake, but for me, it was the best thing I've ever done to you to be able to contact me directly. Serving this community on boards, serving this community on the block, serving this community daily. If you said you haven't seen me, then you maybe haven't been in the community as much as I have been. And I will continue to do that. And I will continue to serve this community locally and nationally. And why I say nationally, because I was nominated by President Biden for a community service award that I hold proudly. When someone said, add up the numbers of your community service, I told them I couldn't because I don't keep the numbers. I just keep the faces and the names. When you say service, if you want to see my cash app of the people I have to serve and feed, that's my service. Standing in food line last week and buying groceries, it wasn't a political thing. It's something I do every Christmas because when I eat, you eat. Thank you.
All right, quickly, 15 seconds for a question, 30 seconds for a response so we can get out of here on time. Mr. Lilly.
Okay, I've heard a lot of different words. I'm gonna throw the word assumption. What can you do to become the sheriff that I won't assume that if I'm walking down the street as a black man with a hood on, that I'm gonna be arrested?
Stop it, please. You guys can stop it.
Say that again.
Stop it, please. It's basically stop it.
Profile.
I don't believe in stopping anybody just because they're walking down the street, and I won't have my deputy stop anybody because they're walking down the street. You don't commit a crime, you don't have to worry about coming across us.
Well, as a young black man, being from this area, I understand what it like to be racially profiled. So when the Biden administration, don't worry about that. That will not happen. We will be a customer service oriented administration. So the idea of being stereotyped because of you're a black man or you're an Hispanic person, that will not exist or happen under my administration.
We have professional standards in the sheriff's office, and racial profiling is strictly prohibited. So we will hold folks accountable that engage in that type of work, but I would not expect you to be stopped as a black man just because of your race.
We went a step above that, even on traffic stop. I am the sheriff that came up with the implication that you will not stop people for a tail light on an inspection sticker. And we implement that to show the people that we are not going to allow my deputies to profile you. So we began that process under my administration.
All right, our final question. Go ahead.
Yes, I'm Reginald Drakeford, Director of Brothers Helping Brothers. And this is in reference to substance abuse in concerning the youth. What program that you would have in place, because a lot of our youth, they are abusing. And so I would like to know, when they come into your facility, what program you have in place to educate them about substance abuse. Thank you.
We have programs already in place about substance abuse, and we took substance abuse very seriously. We actually facilitate with the people who are incarcerated, my residents, in also substance abuse, because we know that drugs still will come inside in many forms and fashions. And so we created them to also help each other if they see someone may be potentially involved in drugs. So we do have programs about substance abuse. We do talk about fentanyl. We have the Narcan in each and every one of our pods to decrease, the likelihood of overdose on each one. My staff, including the residents, are trained to do that. And if you come to our lobby, we even have a free Narcan machine. So we educate our kids, and we have the visitations of our high schools to come in and talk with the residents in a circle group about why they're there and why drugs played an important part in their life. So we're doing these things, but we are open to any suggestion that you have to help decrease the drug use.
Personally, I would like to visit every school and talk to them personally about drugs and how bad drugs are and how not to abuse drugs versus just dealing with them when they come to the facility. I believe that children are the future and they have to learn at a young age about substance abuse and how important it is to avoid substance abuse and how it can ruin your life. There are plenty of programs I've been in, even when I was working at the sheriff's office, regarding the substance abuse program. So I would love to build upon that. We just become more active in the community as far as addressing children regarding substance abuse.
Thanks, sir. Education is the most important thing. You have to educate them when they get there. You have to stay on that education and make sure that anything that's accessible and available, training to them, education level, any programs, if we don't have them in place, put them in place. But I think the biggest thing is once they're in there from day one, you have to educate people on why and why not, because that's what's important.
There's a robust infrastructure in place surrounding programs in substance abuse. I think also it's critically important that those that come into our charge and our custody, that there's a screening process and then identifying those early on. But that educational piece is critically important. There are a lot of programs and infrastructure around that in the current detention center. So just ensuring that those continue and we continue to put resources to support that so that we can try to get people clean and off of substances. Thank you.
All right, before we come back to the panel, we'll give you 30 seconds to close. Robert, quickly.
I'm gonna ask the last question. So within 15 seconds, each of you, if you would, if you were us, so you cannot vote for yourself, who would you vote for? Each of you, and why?
Keep in mind, it's 10:29.
That's for each of you, so no one gets to skip out.
Okay, I don't think that's fair.
Okay. All right. Okay. Okay. He asked it. We put it out there. If you want to answer, don't want to answer. So we will take.
I can't think of a better candidate than myself.
All right, panel. So please, starting with Mr. Collins, take 30 seconds to give us a closing statement.
Thank you so much for having me today. It was a great opportunity to come and discuss my candidacy. I'm Rodney Collins, and I'm a candidate for Mecklenburg County Sheriff, the most qualified candidate. You have an opportunity now to elect someone that has actually 30 years of sheriff's office experience, lived experience through the sheriff's office, coming up and through the ranks. I'm not talking theory, I'm talking about what I know and what I have lived and experienced over the course of a 30-year career there. So I would love to have your support, collinsforsheriff.com. Thank you.
Thank you. Running for sheriff is not just representing the building, it's representing the entire Mecklenburg County. Something that I've done in my entire career. As I told you, I've worked this entire county. I want to continue to work for Mecklenburg County. My 3 priorities, I told you, is making sure safety and security of staff and people incarcerated, making sure retention and that I retain people and also recruit people, and also reopening the juvenile detention center. I'll leave you with 3 things. One is I'm running this race 100 miles an hour. I'm in it to win it. If you want to win, you need to put Ricky in and make sure to vote on March 3rd.
Thank you all for coming out. Antoine Neves, I'm born and raised in Charlotte again, and running for sheriff because I've seen what it's like when leadership doesn't take accountability. I am a stranger to this race. I'm coming out, stranger to politics. I've never been into politics in my life. This, for me, is a calling for myself. I watch the news, I see people, I see things happening, I believe in solutions, and I'm running for sheriff because I know that I am the candidate that would change this county. Thank you.
So I am the sheriff. And most people can tell you what they're going to do if they become sheriff and how they would do it if they become sheriff. I'm the only person who can tell you what it's like to be the sheriff because I currently sit in the seat. So it would be very critical to talk about something that you've never sat in. And you can come close to it all you want to. But if you've never sat in the seat to be the sheriff, then you need to be careful about what you're doing, talking about the sheriff. I have served you well. I've never been out of your eyesight, and I take the criticism, the backstabbing, and even the betrayal, but I am your sheriff. God bless you.
Ladies and gentlemen, please round of applause for our panel. Next week, we will be joined by candidates for county commissioner at large. So please join us again next week. Don't forget about the coffee pot back there. Make donations. We will have announcements. But we are past our time, so if you got to go, please excuse yourselves quietly. I will begin with the first announcement. One of the greatest musical institutions in the city, A Sign of the Times, will have their Bridging Musical Worlds concert tomorrow, January 18th at 3:45 p.m. at Friendship Missionary Baptist Church. Go see A Sign of the Times and the Tosco Music Group. Gary, you got an announcement?
1 second. I have a lost and found. Excuse me.
Lost and found.
Lost and found. Did somebody leave a black Starbucks cup last week? And a book. If you did, come on front.
There's a District 2 public forum on the interstate expansion for I-77. That is Saturday, January 24th from 9 a.m. to noon. And the meeting location is at the Charlotte Mecklenburg Government Center. I don't know why I put an acronym on that. That's 600 East 4th Street. 9 a.m. to noon on January 24th.
I'd like to announce that today is National Poverty Day. I'd also like to announce next week with our county commission candidate at large, those running alphabet names ending 8:30 and 9:55. For those last names ending H through T, 9:30 a.m. to 10:25.
Okay, hey, we need your attention here. We need your attention. Just a moment. On Wednesday, hey, we need your attention, so please be quiet for just a moment. We have not dismissed. On next Wednesday morning at 10 o'clock, all 4 of the candidates have agreed to do so. I will be conducting an exclusive interview with all 4 of them collectively at 10 o'clock next Wednesday morning at the Archive Coffee Shop. It is not open to the public. You are not invited. If you show up, we will have you escorted off the property. But that interview will be available later. Thank you very much, and thank you to the candidates for agreeing to do that exclusive interview.
Again, y'all, if you got a couple dollars, help us out with the coffee pot. We bring coffee every Tuesday and don't charge that down. So if you got something for the building fund, if you will, go ahead and leave that in the tip jar. Because we would like to have some coffee next week. I get thirsty. Well, young Tyson Bates. Monique, let me talk to you.